So welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. I verified in between episodes that I was using KerbNet correctly. It's just that you have to repeatedly scan for the dumb anomalies, and they, of course, they don't have a 100% chance of actually showing up when you do your scans. So that's a thing. And I'm going to upgrade that because I need to eventually. And in this episode, we are going to be flying to Duna and back. Now, we're not gonna land on Duna with a manned mission, a crewed mission, on this flight. But we're gonna go to Duna and back. And we'll end up using a probe. Yeah, Telos 1 was good. Whoop. We're going to end up using a probe that will attach off the docking port on top there. Now, this is where we get some good stuff going on. All right, where is... Now, this is a custom part that I added in. It is just a scaled up version of the liquid fuel tank. Nothing too crazy. And that's because we are going to be doing some nuclear rocketry. But before we get to that, it is science time. We need to put all of our science equipment that we're going to be doing inside of our little science bay here. No, you know what? I don't even need to use that science bay. I should be able to get away with this one. Which is a little smaller. And we'll be able to get all of our usual stuff. Alright, so we're going to do Action Group 3 is going to toggle the doors. And this is not going to be a Talos mission. We are going to Duna, so let's call it Azura 1. Alright, do we need anything else in the cargo bay? I don't think so. That should probably do it. And, just for good measure, we'll illuminate the inside of the cargo bay. Just for good measure. But you know what I do want to do? One of those. This is where things can get a little crazy. this is going to generate a lot of heat. And getting all this and everything up into space is going to be a thing. And let's see if we can find... That's going to be a little big. I think I can probably get away with a smaller one. And we'll toggle our radiators at the same time as our solar panels, so that those are basically just going to be on. Alright. This will be to get us home from Duna. Now, up here... it's going to be our landing probe. And this is where things can get a little interesting. Duna does have a thin atmosphere, and you can land with parachutes in the atmosphere of Duna. It works. So we are gonna load up just a little bit of fuel. Not a whole lot. We don't want this to get too expensive. But we do want some form of power generation, like at all. Whoops. There we go. And we're going to need communications. Am I forgetting anything? I'm not. So, extra science. Oh, yes, I am. I'm forgetting one of these. Two of these. Very important. Okay, we don't have a mystery goo, but I can live without that. Because we're already going to be getting a ridiculous amount of science from this mission overall. And I'm going to strut this until we detach it, so that's fine. So that'll be a lander probe. And I'm not sure if that'll survive, but we'll see what happens. We're experimenting a bit. Alright, so now down here. There are a couple of different ways to... My mouse button again, really? There we go. There are a couple of different ways to build out this mission. I'm going to try this and see what happens. And just to be sure that our fuel flow is working correctly... There. So we've got like a nuclear asparagus thing going on there. It's expensive if you're looking at... I mean, this is expensive. But I think this will work relatively well. We'll find out. Alright, so now I gotta get this ridiculous monstrosity up into space. No, you know what? Where is... Oh, we don't have that yet, do we? We do. Okay. Oh man, this is one hell of a fairing. Okay. Oh, wrong one. I mean, in a minute we'll be doing some of that. There we go. I have no idea how well this is going to work. We're getting pretty crazy. And I think the, where is it? There it is. All right, do we have the crazy engine? Yeah, that one's 1300. I think that's the crazy one. No, it's not. Yeah, the mainsails are still a bit beefier. All right, so this is getting big and expensive. And this should be a little bit of an indication why, like in the regular career mode, when we get far along in the... Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. When we get far along in the tech tree, we end up switching over, when we've got, like, basically all of our tech maxed out. We end up switching over with our strategies office there to start making money instead of technology. Yeah, we're going to need some massive struts on all of this. Lots of struts. When you think you have enough struts, add a few more struts. That's some serious words of wisdom right there. And we'll do some launch clamps, just cause. I have no idea if this is going to work. Now, this is an example of where I would really like to be doing a launch escape system or something. So, what I'm going to do our abort stage. Is just going to be to fire all this nonsense off and stage us into the rest of this. So that we can get ready to recover our crew capsule. That'll be our big, massive abort. So look at that. Wow, 300,000. All right, this is an expensive mission. And we may have over-engineered this. I'm not sure. We'll find out. Oh, I didn't check my crew. Let's see who I've got. Yeah, it's taking a little while to load this guy. All right, Jeb, Bill, and Bob. That's fine for this. Look at that monstrosity. All right, about another 2 years to get to Duna. That's fine. absolutely have these guys just loitering in orbit for 2 years. All right, Kraken Insurance. Oh, it's working. All right, I'm going to ease the throttle a bit on the liquid fuel engines. Yeah, this would go good with a 5-meter shroud. So once I get the tech for the 5-meter shroud, that'll be a decent payload. I am suspecting with that asparagus stage nuclear stuff that we're in good shape. I am worried about these Clydesdales though, dumping off and smacking our core. That's why I'm not doing a more efficient gravity turn. But we'll get going a little quicker. All right, moment of truth. Okay. And we are still gaining speed. We are good. Oh, look at that. Our trajectory's good. Good, good. We still have an absolutely enormous amount of delta V. We may have over-engineered this a bit, and that's okay. I would rather have over-engineered than under-engineered a mission like this. All right, Kraken Insurance. Time warp a little bit further up. We can deploy that now. All right, let's inspect our stuff. Okay. So we'll try to circularize our orbit. A lot less wobbly than I expected on launch. I mean, we've got some obvious wobble because this is a big, tall, heavy, unstable rocket. But it was less than I expected. So that's not nothing. Come on, circularize the orbit. Come on, mainsails, do your thing. Think they can. Okay, we are circularized. And we've still got a little bit of delta V left in there. Not a lot, but a little bit. So that's not bad. What I am going to do is literally just do this. And, you know, again, normally once we're further along, or if I was doing, you know, an offline career mode, I might be doing other stuff while I was waiting for the launch window. You know, getting, like, a basic Salyut 1 style space station going, like a Skylab style space station going, non-modular, with the science lab maybe bringing back like a sample return from Minmus to the orbiting science lab and letting it just churn science. But for this, I'm not going to be going through doing that. I'm focused on the planetary exploration. So we're zipping around here, waiting our year and a half or so. Oh, epilepsy warning on that, sorry. As we somehow haven't run into any Kraken yet. Like this ridiculous thing that we're controlling right now is exactly why we do Kraken insurance. I mean, there are so many big structural joints and heavy parts and points of failure. This is just begging for problems. Begging for problems. All right. Oh, good. We're even almost at the right orientation. Get what we can out of that first stage. Okay. Now this should have a fair amount of delta V. We're going to get out of Kerbin's sphere of influence. Again. Oh, and you know what? Okay, good, that worked. So what we just did there, we just collected some EVA stuff. Ugh. Whoop. Oh, we're fighting Kerbin, that's what it is. But we're good there. Let's take a look at what that gets us. Alright, that's not bad. And after we've done that burn, and we're not dealing with Kerbin screwing up our stuff anymore, that's when we'll do some corrections and whatnot. Oh, almost forgot our Kraken insurance. I know that some people prefer to do this from low Kerbin orbit. I don't. It's personal preference. It doesn't really matter. Like, no, you save like 7 meters per second of delta V if you do it from Kerbin orbit. It doesn't matter. I mean, we're sloppy. We're playing for fun. Okay, we've got an intercept. Why is it locked? Oh. Sometimes the control stuff in this is annoying. Our view focus is all screwed up. So we're going to have to go back into the tracking center and do it this way. And so this is kind of a mission that we're doing, by the way. One of the other reasons I'm sort of going with the design I did, and I have it a little over-engineered, maybe. I'm going to evaluate what our delta V looks like at each stage. Because when it comes time to do like missions to the moons of Jewel and whatnot, I might think about, like, if we have enough delta V out of those nuclear stages, I might think about using this as our crewed portion and launching the lander separately. And, like, docking them in situ. Alright, so here I'm gonna play around with something a little bit. Kraken Insurance. What I'm trying to do is get us into like a really close approach, so that our probe that we're going to land won't have as far to go. And I'm tweaking my trajectory now to save delta V later. Because tweaking way out here is going to take a lot less delta V than minor corrections to our orbit when we're inside Duna's sphere of influence. And I know there are far more scientific ways to do this, but half the fun of Kerbal Space Program is just winging it. Just go with your gut and see what happens. Alright, that ought to be close enough. Alright, this mess is on its way to Duna. This stage might have had enough delta V left to get us out to Dress on a one-way trip, which means that, like, I'm going to be relying on this stuff to have enough delta V to get me back. So, we'll see. You know what else I gotta do? I gotta upgrade my tracking center to level 3. I'll do that after this mission, because we're probably gonna get a whole boatload of money and everything else. Uh-oh. That wasn't super good. Okay, there we go. All right. So now, Kraken Insurance. Let me think for a moment. Get that down inside the orbit of Ike. Let me just get a little closer. Coming in over a pretty good polar orbit. That's actually not bad. This is another case where I might actually do this. We have the opportunity with an orbit like this, if we get into a low orbit, to get EVA science from like all of the biomes, which is significant. Or EVA science from space low above all of the biomes. And we're about to run out of Delta V. Now, all right, fuel flow is working correctly. We're still in space high, and that's all right. That actually drained a little bit more Delta V than I wanted. Oh, whoops. Wrong one. Gonna have to open those back up. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to get a whole bunch of science from space high. And some of it will be diminishing returns, and that's okay. Because I'm going to do an EVA with my scientist and reset the resettable experiments. Restore. Restore. That is why we bring a scientist. All right. So now let's 100,000 should be low over over Duna, I believe. Oh, we've got a weird like topsy-turvy orbit. That's fine though. I am worried about the... Oh, wow, we're like directly perpendicular to our Dunos 1 relay probe. So I'm a little bit worried about radio contact with our lander. Yeah, we're in space low now. We'll just transmit that for good measure. Start getting some of this. And some of these, yeah. Yeah, the magnetometer's diminishing returns. We expected that. Depending what biome we're over. This might also be diminishing returns. Nope, good. Ooh, 140. Oh. So much science. All right, and now again, we're going to get upright. And we'll orient that for our scientist to go on an EVA. Collect the data, restore the thing, collect the data, restore the thing. Okay, now we're rocking. All right, so now let's plan our probe. Kraken Insurance. All right. Not what I wanted to do. Ugh. I was do it the hard way. Kraken Insurance. Oh, look at that. Plenty of Delta V. Good. So the idea is going to be that this is going to come down and land like up here while Dunos 1 is passing overhead. Now we're going to do a little bit of aero braking here. Letting Duna's atmosphere start to slow us down with a little bit of atmospheric drag. I don't remember exactly when Duna's atmosphere really starts to kick in, but we're already flying. Alright, we don't have much fuel left. We're going to use that to do a little bit of a touchdown. Kraken Insurance. Okay. Not bad. This probe actually ended up working pretty well. It is going to take us a little while to descend, though. Let's check where we're... We might be out of contact before we touch down. I am worried about that. But we don't really need our communications relay in order to land safely at this point, because we're going entirely on parachutes. But I did want to toot out the last little bit of fuel just before touchdown to lower that to like 5 meters per second, hopefully. With you know, the idea being just so we're not bumping that heat shield too hard. You know, we're going to be litho braking. Come on. Oh, and we're not going to have a lot of sun either. Because we are like right at the North Pole. Look at that. Oh, 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 oh. Oh. All right. Well, we tipped over. But maybe the sun will come back. The thermometer, that should be the easiest to transmit. Alright, good. So we retrieved science from the surface of Duna successfully. Let me see if I can... It's not going to be viable. Oh, oh. Almost had it. Oh. Oh, come on, come on, come on. Oh. Oh, well. I'm just going to let this sit as is. All right, we don't have a whole lot of power. Yeah, that's not going to be anywhere near enough. Oh, man. Is just bad luck that we landed in a place that doesn't really get sun coverage. Oh. Is it going to make it? Almost. Should have did more batteries. Moral of the story. I'm thinking if I do that like right when we're at peak power, we might be fine. But it's not going to make it. Oh, oh, oh. Just barely. Look at that. Alright, let's transmit our material study. Oh, come on. No, now we don't have comms? Oh, pain in the ass. Oh, we're direct. Oh, yeah. See. Wow. We just can't catch a break with this mission. All right, what else do we have? We had this guy. Yeah, okay. Oh, all right, there's some good comms. And some good sun. Oh, we had comms for just a second. Okay, this is as good as it's going to get. Review, transmit. Okay, I think we've got everything we can out of this now. And that completed a whole bunch of stuff, so that was good. All right, so now we have to get home. Now we have to hope that this will get us home. All right, about a year. You know what? Let's just for a little bit of extra science, let's see if we can get an intercept with Ike. That might not be too hard. And again, half the reason we're doing this is to evaluate Delta V. And we've got plenty of time here. We've got a year. So that is enough time to do this orbit a whole bunch until we get maybe some sort of an intersection. Because if we can get a flyby of Ike... Oh, had one for a second there. Because if we can get a flyby of Ike out of this mission... Alright, good. That'll be a whole bunch of extra science. And it's just going to be a flyby. We're not gonna go down in an orbit. We're not gonna go into low orbit because we're still evaluating Delta V out of this craft. All right, so we're gonna do all of our stuff right up here, and we're gonna try and do it quick. Alright, so just to get some extra experience, let's have Jeb do an EVA. First EVA around Ike, and we'll get Bill, just to say that you did one, and Bob. Okay, and for good measure, let's do a transmit, just to say we did. Alright. So we just got a whole bunch of science out of Ike. And some milestones. So now what we're going to do is once we get back to this point in Duna's orbit, I'm going to spend a little bit of Delta V and I'm going to lower my apoapsis. Just so I don't have to worry about another intersection with Ike that may or may not be intentional. Not a whole lot of Delta V, but you can see there, I mean, we even almost had one. Because Ike's sphere of influence is enormous. And the reason for that is so that I can do this. And just speed up to our next launch window. Or transfer window, I'm sorry. And at this point, we have an absolutely enormous amount of science loaded into our Talos capsule there. With our 01 mission. Alright, gets me dizzy staring at that. But such is the nature of time warp in Kerbal Space Program. Alright, getting close. 2 months. By this point, our crew are long dead, having starved and ran out of food and oxygen long ago. Alright. I have tried out some of the, what is it, the TAC life support or whatever, some of those mods in the past. that add perishable supplies that you need to bring with you that, like, your Kerbals will slowly consume food, and you need to have some way to, like, recycle your atmosphere and all that. I've tried some of those out. They're okay. This is, like, so inefficient. Oh, yep. Don't need that. Only half empty on that first stage. So that's a respectable amount of Delta V. All right, but now we're going back to Kerbin. Not bad. Yeah, about 1,000 Delta V to transfer from Duna to Corbin, just using a basic Hohmann transfer orbit. That's typical. Yeah, I should have come out on the other side of Duna. All right, and about 1,000 Delta V, I'm thinking is going to be, yeah, it's going to be roughly half a tank out of there. So with that nuclear transfer stage, without any orbital maneuvering or anything, we have just shy of enough Delta V, like, to get to Duna and back. All right, so these are dry. We're going to ditch those. All right, and after we're out of Duna and we're done with Duna again, a second time, all right, how did we lose our... There we go. $51 Delta V, not bad. Okay. Decent. Alright, and we've still got 2,500 Delta V left. In total, out of this whole stack. That's not bad. Not bad. Alright, so let me see where we're going to be coming in around Kerbin. What's our periapsis? 46 million. Alright, so once I get a little bit out of the way from Duna, a little bit further out of the way, I'll see what I can do to adjust that. Alright, so let's take a look real quick. Alright. And there are far better ways to do this, but the problem I have is with the camera controls. Getting the camera and everything, like, in such a position, like, here, I can't, like, zoom in and get a good, clean camera angle where I can get my mouse over what I want without messing with a whole bunch of stuff. It gets annoying, so I have to try and I have to do a little bit of trial and error. Even though it is not optimal and it does waste some delta V, I can live with that. And what we're doing here is we're just adjusting our periapsis a little bit. Nothing too weird. And we'll do it with some monopropellant, which we have plenty of. And normally I like to try and get my periapsis down under like 10 million kilometers. Coming back on a return trip. I mean, if I can get it even lower, that's even better, like down to like 2 million or something. I might even be able to. Let me... And by doing this way out here, it takes a lot less delta V to achieve these results. Okay, not bad. That should be good enough. Good enough for Kerbals. And that took very little delta V to accomplish. We didn't overheat any of our stuff. Are those still active? I'll find out when I get out of time warp. But we didn't overheat. That's always very important. All right, let's see what this ends up looking like. And here we're just trying to slow down a bit. This is going to take a considerable amount of delta V to slow down. That's expected. And here I'm just trying to get my periapsis down and well inside the moon's sphere of influence. Around 5 million should be good and healthy. And yeah, so the nuclear engines, you know, if you're not big into KSP or you don't play as often, the reason to use these nuclear engines is it's not only that they only use liquid fuel, it's that they're extremely efficient with how they use liquid fuel. The amount of delta V you get, like, per kilogram of weight is very high. Or per kilogram of fuel is very high. And so as you can see here, we're going to have no trouble at all getting back down to Kerbal without coming anywhere close to bleeding out these tanks. All right. And I wanted to check. Okay, good. The radiators are still on. So now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to crake in insurance. And I'm actually going to stage out of this. And just go with our Talos module. Since this is going to have more than enough delta V to get us down from this sort of an orbit. Even though we're kind of coming in backwards. So we're gonna get a little toasty on re-entry. But that's okay. It's okay. All right, again, getting our periapsis down to about 30,000. All right, do we have any further need for adjustments? I don't think we do. So we are going to jettison. Oh, and that's right. This capsule has some built-in RCS thrusters. I forgot all about that. That's good to remember. Yeah, we're using a little bit more ablator there. But we should be okay. Should be totally okay. Yeah, we're good. Looks like we're coming down over the highlands. And we've probably got all the science out of the highlands. Yeah, there's one of those weird trees over there that we can't really do anything with. Don't have a scanning arm. Whoop. All right, and just to make sure, let's make sure we don't have a surface sample. Oh, 2 extra science out of this ridiculous mission that's going to give us at least 1,000. All right, let's clean up. That's going to be a good one. It's thinking. Oh, look at that. Oh, 2,500 science. Oh. Yeah, and we've, returned home. Look at all that money from Flyby of Ike, Duna, Orbit of Duna. Oh, return Orbit of the Sun. Oh, yeah. Oh. I love it. So this is important for a lot of stuff. Less important, well, actually, that might come into play. This stuff, that's always a weird part, the Rove Max. The RTGs are important. I'm just thinking... Yeah, it's going to be this. All right. So, next time, stay tuned. We're going to land on Duna. And live to tell about it. Live to tell about it. Blueberries, where's this? Oh. That must be one of the little collectible things from Duna. Now, what I'm hoping for here is a contract to just... Okay, that's from Ike. Yeah. What I was hoping for here is a contract to give us, like, return science data from the surface of Duna or something like that. Not so much. But anyway, so we had a very successful mission there. Yeah, there we go. That'll give us our maneuver tool. And you'll see all about that next time. That's going to become a little bit more important with our crewed space mission. And do we need to... Yeah, we don't. That'll help, though. Let me just make sure we're not. Yeah, I really want to get one of those collect science from the surface of Duna so that we can, like, do a 3-fer with all this. But in any case, yeah, check out the next episode where we're going to land on Duna. As always, thanks for watching.